Okay, this week we completed the week 5 group challenge. This was the first time that we'd worked in more than pairs. So we broke up our particular cohort. We worked in teams of 4, and we were given an Airbnb clone that we needed to do, Maker's BnB. So let me just run through and show you some of the things that we did. Okay, so let's have a look at what we were given here. So we've got to break down the project into tasks and allocate them to pairs, build to a specification, run stand-ups and retrospectives, use branch pull request to merge Git workflow, and give and receive meaningful code review. To look at some of the user stories we had, let's take a look at our Trello board. So this is how it finished towards the end of the week. Now, bear in mind, we had 1 week with a sprint. So that's where we did the first run of work that we had. We had 2 days for that, followed by another 2 days, and then a half day, just kind of like there was a feature freeze the night before and trying to complete work so that it was bug free by the presentation. Now, we can have these, as you can see up here, the user stories we had. User can list multiple spaces for their Airbnb. User should be able to receive and approve another user's booking request. User adds details to the listing. User should be able to request to book 1 night. User lists available dates. User can list a space, block out booked nights, and the night available until approved. Now, these requests were slightly longer. So if I take one of these, for example, let's click user lists available dates. As a user, so I can let people know when the property is available to rent, I want to be able to offer a range of available dates to view. So that was the information we were given. We've done a small header for that, so a headline for that to help us move things around, and we broke that into tasks. You can see obviously where the way this works. We would put a few tasks into the sprint. Then we had some we would pair up and put those into in progress. When complete, before we got that onto GitHub, it would be uploaded and put into a pull request to merge from our feature branch. And it would take the other 2 people in the group to read through that material and both of them to approve that before it was pulled onto the main branch. We can see here all of the work that we managed to complete. You can see how those were assigned. It was interesting. One thing that we found, I would mention straight up, is that it was trying to find how different areas, we were doing our best to make sure they wouldn't overlap. We didn't completely achieve that because bear in mind, this is a greenfield project. So we had databases and we felt we couldn't move forward unless we had a good idea of what those ground level areas would be. So we actually took time at the start building up what we believed the database structure was. Let's have a look at our design process. So I might need to use more of the page here. Up the top here is how our databases came together. Okay, you can see we had a table for users, listings, a list of dates, and what we needed to do as well was to link some of these with requests, because in the user stories we had that someone would be able to request a booking, but that multiple people could request that booking until such point that they were approved and that closed off that area. And then later on, we actually implemented a messaging feature as well. But how did we imagine that that would all come together? So you can see here the design process we went through. Started with our entry page, link to sign up, link to login. And without going through everything, you can see just it was important that we tried to gauge how we saw the user's experience working through these different parts. So I think it's about time we show you how this looks. So let's get the server running. I already have, you can see, connected to the database successfully. I already have a database running in the background as well. Let's go to localhost. Here we go. Bearing in mind, we're working with an MVP, minimal viable product. So whilst this is admittedly a very clean but straightforward and not the most welcoming page for a welcome page, but it's the functionality that we were trying to build on. Okay, so let's just work our way through it. So we've got a home button here. There's a little bit of design there. Things are spaced out on the page, and we've got a login and a sign up button. Let's go to the sign up. You can see how that would work. And then we can go to, in fact, we've already got someone signed up. So let's go to login. So we made a fictional person, Anna. Okay, with their password. You can see as they log in, we've now changed the features they can have. They've got a log out and their account. Create listing and request to stay. So let's have a look at request to stay. So we've got 3 places here: the Muddy Shack, Fiery Pits, and the Dark Satanic Mills that you can attend. Buttons to go back to the menu, see your account, log out. Let's take the first one, Muddy Shack. Let's click that. So you're brought to a page that gives you available dates. Now, we've been working hard to try and figure out how to use HTML's calendar functionality. We came up with this solution for it. So we've got available dates and we have those that get produced to the page. So now it says here, enter your chosen available date. So of these, let's have a look, 20th of the 1st, 2023. So let's have a look, 2023, January 20th. So let's have a look, 20th of the 1st, 2023. That is an available date. Let's request that one. There we go. Request received. Okay, view all listings. We can go back. Let's try again, but this time let's choose one that is not available. Now notice this doesn't mean it's booked. It means that we've requested a booking. So let's try, well, today, for example, that will not be there. What do we get? Booking error, listing not available. That's something for you to know. Okay, so let's have a look. So what other stuff have we got? So if we go to the menu, can also create a listing. So sticking with a theme, let's go for purgatory. Description: when you just don't know where you want to stay. Price per night, let's go for 80. It's in pence. Okay, let's go from today until the end of the week and list it. If we were pushing this further, it would be nice to have a page that popped back to say that that booking had been completed, but we were on a tight deadline to get an MVP, so we felt time-wise we needed to tie things up elsewhere. Let's go back and see request to stay. And there you see we've got purgatory now has been included in the available places listed. Account. So now let's look there. So this is for Anna still. So she has got pending approval for, there we go, for the Muddy Shack that we went for, which is also where she is. So we can see that that's also where she is, her own place. So it's worthwhile showing you this way because we couldn't see both without 2 people logged in, 2 separate computers. We couldn't see someone logging in and the listing for it. And we've got a button there that we click that will put through to ask for that to be approved. Now we have been implementing a messages page. I'll show you how that would look. Here we go. So we've got Muddy Shack and the Dark Satanic Mills. Now at the moment, I believe we've got a slight error in that one, so I'm not going to go through that at this moment in time. So now if we log out, there we go. So page there. So I also want to show you the database that we were working from here. So you can see we've got the listings there. In fact, we've also got the listings there. You can see purgatory has gone in again. We put in there the dates lists. So we've got the listing ID. Okay, the date itself, whether it has been booked. So you saw we had awaiting approval, and the booker ID if it has been booked. So you can see true. You can see then, and that's the one that we approved. You can see that the booker ID is in there. So what we pressed earlier, you can now see that that went from being false and it being a request. And for the record, the requests over here we'll look at in a moment, and to say that Anna, who is booker ID 1, has got that. Let's jump to the requests and see how we put that together. So you can see here the user IDs, the people that we've got there, and then the booking requests that they've made on the different date list ID. Okay, so date list ID going back here, lots of dates there, and it's just referencing what one they've made a booking for. They've made a request for a booking for, rather. And the users, we've got our 4 users there. Again, bringing up there, you wouldn't go and put in your password in that fashion. We would encrypt those. But at this moment in time, while we're building out the product, that's how we saw that to work. So that was just a quick run through of the first group project that we had. It was quite an intense situation. I feel like that there was a lot to try and complete. We're new to this. It was greenfield as well, so we had to build everything from scratch, thinking about our databases, and all of the classes that we would use, every sort of avenue the user would follow. Nothing was already, we weren't building on top of anything. You could argue that we were, of course, using a clone of a well-established site, but we'd never done that ourselves. So um, a few things that we might have looked at more differently. As I said before, we had areas where uh, we tried with our user stories to work in a more vertical fashion. So we were building on features. We struggled with that to start with until we'd built a grounding on the first day between us on how we felt that user situation would work, and then building the database out. From that stage forward, we then started to work in a more vertical fashion, teaming up in pairs to work on features. We still found at this stage that we did cross paths sometimes. Um, so yeah, it's something to work on, but we were quite pleased with the outcome of our first one. Next week we move on to JavaScript. We're looking at the idea of now not just that it's using JavaScript, how it works, but once you know a language already, how you can work to kind of piggyback off your current knowledge already. Okay, so that's going to be interesting and nice to get back to the studying again. Okay, see you next time.